Hey guys, welcome back. I just want to introduce to you my next build. So while there's not a lot of parts to this kit, there is going to be the building of the diorama that I want to do. So hopefully we can get it done. So what I'm going to do is we're going to, after I open the box up, I'll show you what I'm doing. We'll set the clock in motion. We're going to go start and build this in 24 hours and see if we can't get her done on time. So hang on, be right back. Okay, so here's our kit right here, and in this kit, this one, as you can tell from the box, we've got 3 ships in it. Okay, you've got the original Enterprise, you've got a Klingon bird D7, and then you've got the Romulan bird of prey. I'm not going to be using these 2 kits right now. I'm just going to be using this one. So if you look down here, you see the sprues. There's not a lot. It's the D7 comes in its own sprue. Okay, we're going to put that away for right now. Don't those parts that I drop. The Romulan bird of prey, even smaller, but still kind of a sharp ship. And the neat thing is they're all in scale, so you can do some great stuff with it. Here's the one we're going to do tonight. Or, excuse me, today. We're going to build this Enterprise right here. So there's not a lot of parts, but we still have to get it to look the part. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 parts to this one. There's a twist that I'm going to do that I didn't tell you about yet, and that is I'm not just going to build this and put it on my shelf like I had mentioned before. Not that there's anything wrong about people that do that. That's just not what I like to do. I like to try to create these scenes now that I realize I can do that. That's really my goal, is to create a nice, energized, interesting, attention-grabbing scene that's going to hang on my wall. Of course, but I haven't told you what it is yet. But we are going to get this cleaned up. I'm not going to have you sit and watch while I clean parts, so I'll be back in a couple minutes. Okay, so we've got our saucer section done. Now, there are some really small pins in here. There's 3 pins. But I was having a real hard time getting them to match up, line up, and click together. So I shaved them off and then eyeballed the rest and put them in. Now I'm going to let that dry. The 2 nacelles are in place. Okay. We still have to, do some sanding and everything, but I'm going to let them dry. And then the next step also is going to be putting this together. But if you come in close, oops, come in close, focus, focus. I don't have time for you to wait. I only got 24 hours to do this. You can't focus? Come on. A little better. If you, well, what you can't really see because my camera won't focus is that there you go, if I do that, you can see the molded in windows. Now, thanks to a fellow YouTuber, Kenny Conklin over at Sci-Fi Annecy, they said that these windows don't line up very well with the decals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand these off. What's going on over there, bud? Hello? What's the matter? Where's my buddy? It's Diesel. I don't know what's the matter with him now. He gets very needy. Such a good dog, but he's very needy. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this together and I'm going to then sand. I heard you. Sand off the windows, and then I also have to fix Basic assembly of this kit is a lot like the larger 1000 scale kit, and that is when the nacelles get connected to the pylons here, they basically have like a hook at the end of the pylon, and what it does is it goes, if I can, you take the pylon like so, and this hook goes into and kind of ratchets over, and it locks into place here where it has a proper angle. But when I go to put it in here, it split the seam that I worked on where it was put together. I tried sanding it, making the top thinner, and it still split it. So what I ended up doing is with my knife, I took off that lip. So instead of having a hook, now it's just straight. So now what I can do is I can just slide it in like that, kind of match it up, and it's kind of steady. It's in a good position, I believe. Same with the other one. The other one doesn't want to fit as well. It'll take a little bit of persuasion to hold it in place, but you kind of get my drift. So that's where our pylons are. So let me see if I can't get this going. Alright. What I'm going to do, using the fine cement at this point, there, a little bit there, take our nacelle, put it in place. This one's a very good fit. I'm going to take this one, do the same thing, little dabble do ya. Okay, take this one, come on eyes, work, put that one in spot, that looks good. Now take the two, put them upside down, can't see that, sorry. Take the two, put them upside down, align them the way I believe they should be, and let it dry for a couple minutes. Be right back. Okay, our little Enterprise is built. I applied some putty to the area around the saucer. There was also some putty that had to go on the back and between the pylons here on the spine of the ship. The nacelles were such a tight fit that there really was no need for any putty in that area, so very little putty so far. I just want the pylons to glue up and the saucer to glue up a little bit more, a little dry a little bit more, and then I'm going to shoot it with some primer and see what has to be done from there. Okay? Hang on, we'll be right back. Okay, so here we are with our Enterprise. We've got the saucer on, we've got the nacelles on, they're in alignment, sitting over top of the saucer like they should. They look pretty damn even. I got the engine caps on here. I lost about an hour of time because when I was pulled these from the sprue, they had a very large attaching point, and I was trying to sand it and trim it, and it took off from my fat ham hock fingers. I heard it hit a garbage bag that I have hanging next on my tripod actually, and I've been scouring for about an hour looking for it. It turns out it was sitting on the bench. It actually never hit the floor and got to the carpet monster. But anyway, so we are back on track after we lost about an hour. Now we go onto this side here. You're going to see this really large docking port that I put in. Okay, well, it's not really a docking port. What it is going to be the attachment point for our stand. See, we're going to put this in a different position where instead of having it up its bum, it's on its side. So we'll get to that, more to that later. But I want to get some primer on this so it can start drying, and I can get, move on from there, because the longest part of this build is going to be waiting for the paint and the primer and all those things to dry. Now, I was just thinking as I was looking at this in the camera, all I need to do is put a little chain on it, and it'd be just like in, I think it was Cat's Paw, the episode Cat's Paw. Just leave it like that. I'm all set. Instant Star Trek prop. I could put it on eBay and sell it as rare for like lots and lots of money. Just kidding. I wouldn't do that, but I would charge about $30 to ship it for an item that weighs about an ounce. But anyway, that's where we're going. And to do this, now I want to make sure I get my coats even. So what I came up with, I don't want to use the piece that I'm going to use. Here's what I'm using for my stand. It's a clear acrylic rod. Okay, and that's going to fit in there like that. I don't want to paint it because I want the clear to maintain. It's my last one. So what I decided to do is I took a bunch of these toothpicks, okay, or cocktail sticks depending where you hail from, and if I put them in the hole, kind of jam them in there a little bit without getting too bad, I've got myself a self-made handle, and now I can twist and I can turn and I can prime this sucker. So hang on, we'll be right back. Okay, so our little teeny weeny Enterprise is all primed. Okay, I'm just going to let it sit. It's kind of dry, but I'm going to kind of let it sit for a little while longer just to make sure. And then we're going to hit it with some paint. But as this dries, we got to figure out what else to do. And here's my plan. If you remember, I put this big docking port. I put this big docking port on the side of the ship. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this acrylic rod. Okay, and this is going to go in here. It's going to get fixed in here. Which means my Enterprise is going to kind of sit like this. Okay. So, what's that mean? Well, here's what it means. Every time I watch Star Trek, the original series, it always opened with, or at some point it went to a scene where the Enterprise is floating around a planet. So I'm going to put my little Enterprise in orbit around a planet. Here's my planet. This is just a big half a ball made of styrofoam. Picked it up at Hobby Lobby. This sucker's big. It's, see if I measure it out here. 13, about 13 inches across. Nice big size. And I figure the Enterprise will sit kind of like this, orbiting it. And then it'll hang on the wall. So, my next plan then is to take this ball and we're going to paint it to look like a planet. So I was going through some episodes and trying to figure out what to do, how to paint it and everything. And I decided I'm going to do it kind of like Vulcan, which was always oranges and mostly oranges and browns, a little bit of gray, and polar cap and everything. So that's what I'm going to try to do. So I'm going to first sand, I got this sphere right here, see if I can't sand that off. And then using some paint, I got some paint around here. I forget, oh here it is. Got a can of Grabber Orange. I figure I'll use that as a base, nice and big, get it done a lot quicker, and then we'll go around later and we'll detail it out a little bit more and make it look more like a planet. So hang on, we'll be right back. Okay, so now it's time to put some color on our little baby Enterprise here. Now, there's different schools when it comes to painting the Enterprises. The original series, the ship wasn't white, but it was a light gray basically. And I understand the best way to achieve that color, the classic color, would be using Japanese Navy sky gray. And actually even lightening this up a little bit will give you the color that was most closely resembles that you see on screen. But then the Blu-rays came out, and in the Blu-rays they darken the Enterprise. And personally, here we go, I'm going to lose a bunch of subscribers on this, but personally I like it better. I like the darker color better. I'm not saying I would never do the lighter one, but I just prefer the darker gray Enterprise, which is not really a dark gray. It's more of a light ghost gray in way. I don't know the exact color, so don't say it's not that color. It's close to it. This is just a gray primer. This is a little too dark, although I'm sure you can get away with it. If you look at the light ghost gray, I got the light ghost gray here. I don't know if we can get in here. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to get in there. But light ghost gray is a little lighter than this, and I think I like this color a lot. But I don't want to use this because it's an enamel. Whoops, off camera. I don't want to use this color because it's an enamel, and it's going to just take forever to dry. Normally it'd be very easy to do and spray it and so forth, but because we're on a tight schedule for a 24-hour build here, I want to do something. I want to speed it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my craft acrylics. I've got a charcoal, and this is a lighter charcoal. If you follow other videos of mine, you'll see I have two different color charcoals. One's a dark charcoal, and then there's this one, which is lighter. So I'm going to lighten this up with some white, and I'm going to come up with a mix. And this is the mix that I came up with. A little lighter than Ghost Gray, I think. I like it a lot. So we're going to spray this on here and see how she turns out. So hang on, we'll be right back. Okay, so last we left, we were painting our planet, and we took our planet, we painted it with Grabber Orange. It was leftover from a previous build. It's only a little bit of paint in there. It's enough to paint it, get a base coat on it. So we painted that, we dried it, and then we wanted to make some features for the planet. And what we did is we used these three colors here: Americana khaki tan. We used a little bit of Americana traditional burnt umber, and to top it off we used some of this Americana dark scarlet. We did those paintings and we came up with this. Here, can't get far enough back on this. Here is our planet. Okay, we got some polar caps on both ends. We got some, streaks and stuff like that. I think it looks pretty cool. I was very happy with the way it turned out. At first I was very nervous on how it was going to turn out, but I'm very pleased in the end. Now, what we did also, prior to doing all the painting, is I took a sleeve, a plastic sleeve, and I inserted it into the styrofoam, drilled a hole, put it in. Excuse me. Excuse me. Drilled it in, placed it in, glued it in place, and this is what it looks like on the back side. Okay, a little hard to see because it's clear, but basically that's our tube. I put some glue in the bottom of it, let it dry there so it acts as a stop. And then we're going to slide our Enterprise in there. And speaking of our Enterprise is done. Okay, what we did is we painted the Enterprise with the craft acrylics from the last video you saw, which was a light charcoal craft acrylic, and then using some white craft acrylic, lighten it up a little bit, we came up with this color. And then to accent it, we did, as you can see here, we did some dark spots, darker gray here along the bassards in the back, and just enough to give it some detail. Okay, did the radar dish, or the sensor dish, deflector dish, whatever it is. And then that big space port that we put on the side, access port, we took this acrylic rod and we shoved that in there, glued it in place. Okay, and we are in the home stretch. We're looking good, I think. So first, before I put this in place though, I'm going to take some flat clear, and I'm going to spray our planet and dull it down a little bit. It's a little too shiny right now. Okay, so stay tuned for the final reveal.